Hello friends, welcome back. So this is the continuation video of types of VLAN concept. So we have so far seen a default VLAN, what do you mean by management VLAN, and what do you mean by data VLAN, and how do we segregate data user traffic using the data VLAN concept, and how do we monitor the switch remotely using a management VLAN information. So this is what we have seen so far, and also we have seen trunk port in our last video. How do we configure trunk port? What is the reason to use trunk port, and how do we manage trunk port, and how we can telnet through this trunk port as well. So all these details we have seen so far until the last video. And this video is going to talk about what is native VLAN and how do we configure native VLAN and what is the significance of native VLAN. We are going to look into this. So let's see one by one. So first of all, what do you mean by a native VLAN? That is the most important thing we need to understand here. A native VLAN is the one of the type of VLAN again, which can handle your untagged traffic. That is the traffic which does not belong to any VLAN, that can be handled by this native VLAN when it goes via the trunk link or the trunk port. So basically the native VLAN can carry the untagged packet across your trunk link in the switch network. That is the concept of a native VLAN. So then you can ask, what do you mean by the default VLAN? How do we differentiate that? So as I said, default VLAN is always VLAN 1 on your Cisco switch, and it cannot be changed. Suppose you have connect any devices to the switch without any VLAN configs, it will belong to the default VLAN and it will carry the information it will carry the traffic across this VLAN 1, which is the default VLAN. Whereas if you configure a native VLAN, and that is a dedicated VLAN which can carry only your untagged traffic, not the tagged VLAN traffic, because of course if any traffic is tagged with a particular VLAN, then it is going to carry that information across your trunk link and reach the respective VLAN on the other end. Whereas you don't know what VLAN is associated with the traffic, but you want to traverse this traffic across your trunk link, then there you can go for a native VLAN concept. So let's begin how to configure this native VLAN in your switch and associate them with your trunk port. Let's start. Just go ahead and configure the switch first. Just go to switch mode, switch 1. Let's see the VLAN right now. So you can see the VLAN brief. There is no native VLAN configurations here, and we haven't configured native yet. So let's see. There is a configuration. There is a command called show interface trunk to see the trunk port whether it is associated with native VLAN. Of course, it is associated with native VLAN currently. Since we haven't configured any native VLAN, the native VLAN will default to the default VLAN number, which is 1. That's why we have seen here a default VLAN is associated with the native VLAN in the trunk. So let's go ahead and check one more command, show interface AP0/9, which is your trunk port in this switch, and then give switch port. So you can see right now this port is acting as is enabled, and it is acting as a trunk port which connects the other switch on the other end, switch 2, and carries your encapsulated VLAN tagged packets across this port. And you can see right now the native VLAN, trunking native mode VLAN is 1. Just because we haven't configured any native VLAN, it is associated with native VLAN 1. So let's do some configuration for the native VLAN. Let's configure mode. Let's do VLAN. Let's say we are going to configure a native VLAN as 110 and then name it as native. Just go to show VLAN brief. Now you will be able to see a native VLAN has been configured, but there are no ports associated as such. So let's associate this native VLAN to the interface FA0/9, switch port, trunk, native, and then you can give the command VLAN and then 110. So now if you go to show run, you will see the VLAN 110, which is the native VLAN, has been associated with the trunk port, and now if you go to show interface trunk, you will see that native VLAN has been changed to 110 dedicated VLAN, which is the dedicated native VLAN that we have configured just now. And if you see show interface FA0/9 switch port, you will see trunking native mode VLAN has been changed to 110 from 1. So far we have configured a native VLAN in this switch, but we kept receiving this message, the inconsistent message, that because we haven't configured this native VLAN on the other end. So let's go to the other end switch, and you can see this message already popping up. Just go to configuration mode, then VLAN 110 main native. Do show VLAN brief will give you the details. So you can see the native VLAN has been configured, and show interface trunk will be changed. Okay, it will not change until you associate it with the trunk interface. So we are going to associate it. Interface FA0/7, which is the trunk port in this switch. We can see that in the show and config. You can see here this is the port which is configured as a trunk. So go to switch port trunk native VLAN 110. So now go to interface trunk. The native VLAN 1 has been changed to 110 since we associated the created native VLAN 100 to the trunk port. You can also see the trunk port show interface FA0/7 switch port will give you trunking native mode VLAN as 110. So we have configured a native VLAN 110 and dedicated for the untagged traffic to be carried across your trunk link. So this is the basic concept behind your native VLAN. I hope you understand what you mean by native VLAN right now. And we have seen all types of VLAN except the VoIP VLAN, which will be seen in our upcoming next video. So please stay tuned, and thanks for listening to this video.